Dear participants, we will go live in a short while. Okay, welcome you all to the CRiT Summer School Day 2. And also I would like to thank the people who have attended yesterday, the Day 1. And thanks for joining for today's session. So Day 2 has 3 sessions. So we are going to start our first session with corporate social responsibility, sustainable in hospitality. Move to the next slide. Yeah. Okay, once again, a quick soft reminders for all the participants. Try to open your camera during the digital photo session, and we have muted, especially for the participants, we have muted the mic all the time. Please post your questions only in the Slido. The code will be shared in the next slide. People who have attended the session yesterday, we are using the same Slido code. Questions posted in the Zoom chat will not be entertained. So because the Zoom chat, probably people are, you have any other sharing informations, or probably if you have any technical issues, you can post there. Please use your full name by renaming yourself, so that we will use that name for the attendance as well as issue of certificates. So the certificates will be emailed to the participants within 7 days after the end of the CRiT Summer School, which is on Friday. Okay, that means within 1 week. A poll will be released in the Zoom at the beginning of the interactive sessions, whereby we request the participants to complete the poll within given time, probably 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, this is the Slido code, as well as you can open your smartphones or tablets to scan the QR code to start posting your questions the moment the speaker starts sharing. So when you post your questions, please put your name as well as your country, so that we can try to take very diverse questions from different countries. So today we have our session 3, which is the Day 2. The moderator for today's session is Dr. Rupam Kono, a senior lecturer from Taylor's University, Malaysia, who has academic experience as well as industry experience, and he is also a managing editor for our own journal, Scopus Journal, which is Abjit. And he has also published various journal articles as well as handled various research projects, and also is a visiting professor for the university in Philippines. So without further ado, I will pass the screen to the moderator, Dr. Rupam Kono. Dr. Rupam, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Gandapan. What's a nice introduction of mine. But welcome all the participants. Thank you for joining us at CRiT across the world, no matter where you are located. But it's our pleasure to have you on board on this. And I can see there are a lot of participants, over 300 participants already. We are excited to bring you this Day 2 session number 1, focusing on the corporate social responsibility and also sustainability in hospitality. Because yesterday was such an intriguing session. I believe most of the participants has enjoyed it. But that doesn't stop here. We are bringing the next session. So our next speaker that I would like to introduce to you is Dr. Patricia Martínez. She is an assistant professor teaching marketing and consumer behavior. She's also the part of marketing intelligence R&D group at University of Cantabria, Spain. Her current research actually includes corporate social responsibility and consumer behavior in the tourism sector. She has published over 30 articles in prestigious journals such as Journal of Sustainable Tourism, Corporate Social Responsibility, and Environmental Management, but Journal of Business Ethics, Journal of Contemporary Hospitality Management, Journal of Journal of Hospitality Management, and also among the others. She has also held stays at several international research centers, such as Center for Business Ethics in Bentley University, US, as well as the Center for Advanced Tourism Studies on Hokkaido University, Japan. She has also participated in several research projects, no matter it's public or private fundings, and she is also the editorial board members for the Journal of Sustainable Tourism. So Dr. Martínez will be actually, couldn't able to join us, but she was graceful enough to send us a wonderful talk of hers through a pre-recorded video due to some urgency in her, course. So that's why she has sent us a pre-recorded video, and we will play it for you. And I'm sure you will enjoy her talk. So without further ado, I'm going to play the video for all of you. I hope it will be an interesting session for everybody. So thank you very much once again for joining us, and I am playing the video right now.
Hi everyone, how are you? Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you in this summer school on tourism and sustainable development goals. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Rasoli Manes for his kind invitation to take part in this interesting initiative together with my colleagues, Professor Rumi and other scholars from other universities all around the world. Well, as you may know, my name is Patricia Martínez. I work at the University of Cantabria in Spain, and my main lines of research are based on CSR and consumer behavior in the hospitality industry. So in this session, I would like to focus on these issues, basically on CSR, corporate social responsibility, and the hospitality industry. I would like to share my presentation. So this way is going to be easier for you to follow my, my conference. So, well, in this first slide, you can see here my contact details. You've got here my email and my Twitter account. So feel free to contact me if you have any question or doubt, or you are interested in additional references. Okay, so just feel free to send me an email or whatever you consider. Okay, so well, starting with my presentation, I would like to show you the index that I'm going to follow during my conference. So first of all, I'm going to focus my attention on the concepts of CSR and sustainability. Secondly, I'll focus on sustainability and the hospitality industry to continue with the challenges that sustainable hospitality faces today. To conclude, I will present an agenda for sustainable hospitality as a guide for implementing sustainable practices in this sector. Okay, so starting with the first point, as you may know, the concept of corporate social responsibility, or CSR, has evolved since the 50s. Society has placed greater expectations on companies. Obviously, the evolution of definitions of CSR has been shaped by how this construct is socially defined. Rather than repeating well-established definitions that you may know, it's worth relating the subject of this session and its focus on sustainable tourism with the concept of CSR. So in this regard, the World Commission on Environment and Development, typically known as the Brundtland Commission, defines sustainable development as meeting the current society's needs without compromising the ability of future generations to do so. In this case, responsibility is the human response to that goal. Basically, responsibility is a relative choice in relation to, first of all, accepting that sustainability is relevant, is important, and secondly, deciding which initiatives or activities and other changes one is willing to undertake in response. Responsibility, this individual responsibility, is linked to the concepts of stakeholders. So in this regard, CSR can be defined as a process whereby individuals identify stakeholders or stakeholder demands on their companies, hospitality organizations, for instance, and negotiate their level of responsibility towards the collective well-being of society, environment, and economy. Such a description highlights, as I told you before, that responsibility is socially constructed by hospitality organizations engaged in CSR. In this regard, the degree to which an organization acknowledges responsibility towards society determines how proactive their approach to CSR is, and therefore the proactivity of a stakeholder. It also determines whether their actions or activities contribute towards shared well-being, depending on whether these actions are motivated by seeking benefits to oneself, to others, or to the biosphere, okay, to the natural environment. The second figure that you can see in this slide shows the range of external and internal stakeholders that may be considered as part of firms' CSR practices. Okay, as you can see in this figure, stakeholders in the unshaded boxes, that is consumers, shareholders, management, and employees, are prominently discussed in tourism literature on CSR. A stakeholder in the texture boxes, that is communities and ecosystems, are, let's say, moderately but not widely discussed, and stakeholders in the shaded boxes, that is suppliers, NGOs, and governments, are virtually untouched in the academic literature. Okay, in this sense, it's been in the last 15 years that we have started to see significant growth in the academic literature regarding CSR in hospitality and tourism. In fact, the academics Fund and Line in 2018 conducted a search on the Web of Science database for books or articles that self-identified as being related to either CSR, corporate sustainability, corporate responsibility, or corporate social and environmental responsibility, and either tourism and hospitality. And here we include research related to airlines, cruise ships, and even restaurants. Okay, well, this research developed by Fund and Line revealed that 366 articles were published up to 2018 in journals and referred conference proceedings on this subject, and over 70 of all articles on these subjects have been published in the past eight years. As you can see in the figure in the slide, in 2006 there were no articles published on CSR in tourism and hospitality. In 2007 there were 2 papers, and well, by 2016 the number of publications peaked at 88. So luckily, over time, the number of research papers, academic papers focused on CSR in hospitality and tourism has evolved. Okay, in this second figure or graph, you can see the types of CSR initiatives in the hospitality and tourism industry. This figure is based on the findings of the study conducted by Wood et al. In 2021, well, basically this year. Okay, these authors develop a systematic review of corporate social responsibility practices in the hospitality and tourism industry. In this research, authors reviewed 124 articles covering the 15 years between 2004 and 2019. So as you can see in the slide, 6 business sectors were found within the hospitality and tourism industry. Okay, you've got travel agencies, hotel operators, airlines, restaurants, the conference sector, and ocean cruising. Their CSR initiatives are summarized in the table that you can see in this slide according to the classification of the international organization standard organization. Okay, there are basically 7 categories: organizational governance, human rights, labor practices, the environment, fair operation practices, consumer issues, community involvement, and development. As you can see, environmental practice was the popular choice among all CSR practices within the hospitality and tourism industry. It appeared in the restaurant, tour operator, conferencing, hotel, and cruising sectors. Community involvement and development practices were found in all sectors except conferences. According to the authors of this research, it might be due to the fact that almost all conferences usually target at a specific audience and have commercial nature. Okay. As we mentioned before, the popularization of the concept of sustainable development is due to the report entitled Our Common Future, or the Brundtland Report, written in 1987 by the United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development, which was chaired by Gro Harlem Brundtland. In this report, she proposed the aforementioned definition on sustainable development. Since that time, the idea of sustainable development, not just in the tourism industry or the hospitality sector, but in general in many other contexts, has spread greatly and is widely supported in the international community, as it offers a vision of the future that confronts the progressive problems of environmental degradation and the unequal distribution of resources. So proof of this interest can be seen in the different international declarations signed in recent years, centering on sustainable development in the tourism and hospitality arena. So for instance, in last year, several events focused on sustainable tourism were held. So for instance, we've got the Adventure Travel World Summit. This event covered the ways that tourism professionals around the globe can map the future of adventure travel with networking session, keynote speakers, and collaborative session. The APTA Sustainable Travel Conference. The focus of this conference is the tour operator business in general and the actions that these companies can take to become more sustainable. Well, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, that, as you may know, contributes toward establishing and managing global sustainable tourism standards, provides certification for tour operators, as well as a whole lot of valuable resources when it comes to investing in sustainable tourism. In this case, there are global conferences or their global conference, sorry, it brings together industry professionals from many different sectors to discuss key challenges and opportunities for sustainable tourism. Well, Pure Life Experiences is all about sustainable luxury, from conservation to sustainable communities and business practices. The Pacific Asia Travel Associations that also holds an annual travel conference all about sustainability and responsibility in the adventure travel industry in this case. In the ITB event, you can meet suppliers and potential customers while also learning about the future of sustainable tourism. Focusing on the hospitality sector, several international conferences were also held last year. For instance, the Green Hospitality Conference, the Future Hospitality Summit that was developed to tackle the big ideas and challenges facing the hospitality industry, and many others, such as, for instance, the International Conference on Tourism and Hospitality, the International Conference on Sustainable Tourism and Tourism Marketing, or the International Conference on International Tourism, Hospitality and Hotel Management, among others. Okay. So continuing with the concepts of CSR and sustainability, as I told you before, the conception or the definition of sustainable development has evolved beyond the natural environment, taking other aspects of human development into account. As you can see in this figure, the concept of sustainable development has included economic, social, and environmental considerations of sustainability. The idea of all society's sectors participating in taking decisions and differentiating the responsibilities of poor and rich countries. Three issues tend to be distinguished in sustainable development. Okay, the environmental sustainability, the social and cultural sustainability, and the economic sustainability. In a few moments, I will define all of them. Okay, but before doing that, I would like to highlight the idea that the factors involved in CSR can be identified from the conceptual models provided by different authors. So for instance, all these figures that you can see in this slide summarize the different conceptions of CSR according to the approaches in the sustainable development model. All of them are founded on the triple bottom line, which was broken down by Panwar et al. In 2006 into different dimensions. To properly illustrate the model and its dimensions, the definitions of each of them proposed by the World Tourism Organization are explained now. So for instance, when we talk about the economic dimension of sustainability, this economic dimension is based on ensuring a viable long-term economic activity which provides correctly distributed socioeconomic benefits for all social agents. Okay, the social dimension refers to respecting the socio-cultural authenticity of the host communities, conserving their architectural and living cultural assets and their traditional values, and obviously contributing to intercultural understanding and tolerance. Lastly, the environmental dimension refers to ultimately using environmental resources, which are a core element in tourist development, protecting essential ecological processes and helping conserve natural resources and biological diversity. Okay, in all these models, the authors reinforce the conception of CSR as a multidimensional construct, placing equal emphasis on economic, social, and environmental issues. As mentioned before, this focus is closely connected to another concept, the triple bottom line, that is the last figure in the slide, through which the standard prosperity line, that is utility, should be parallel to the lines of the planet, that is the environment, and people, that is society. This perspective emphasizes the need to adopt ideas of corporate ethics and the importance of stakeholders above and beyond that of the owners, investors, and shareholders. Continuing with this idea, according to Olave and the Green Paper European Commission, sustainability-oriented companies conceive of their long-term actions as interrelated spheres of influence and scope of action. So in the smallest sphere, the sphere number 4, companies have decision-taking power and their control over it is total, okay? The next sphere, sphere 3, contains all companies with which an intense business relationship is maintained, okay? In the next sphere, sphere number 2, companies project their influence and participate in the local community in which they do business. And in the last sphere, sphere number 1, companies interact with society at large. In this sphere, the values are expressed through which society formulates its aspirations toward a better quality of life, and they are transferred to the other spheres of action. From another perspective, but still employing, the spheres identified in the figure shown in this slide, the European Commission Green Paper in 2001 distinguished 2 dimensions of CSR: the internal dimension, equivalent to the company sphere, and the external dimension made up of the rest of the spheres. You've got them, this relationship in the figure in the slide. In the internal dimension, socially responsible practices primarily affect the employees in matters referring, on the one hand, to managing human resources, for instance, health and safety in the workplace, and on the other hand, the internal dimension also includes the management of the natural resources used in production. However, as mentioned before, corporate social responsibility from the perspective of sustainable development extends from companies' limits outward to the environment and society, including a wide range of agents and partners. For instance, commercial partners, suppliers, consumers, public authorities, non-governmental organizations, and so on. So many authors support these focuses, these ideas, particularly in the tourist scenario on which this session is centered. So for instance, Henderson states that owing to the typical characteristics of tourism, an extra dimension should be added to CSR and sustainability. As he mentions, society is part of the product, and companies have responsibilities with the societies and environments where they developed their activities. So for these reasons, it's probable that tourist service consumers are more sensitive to the adoption of CSR executed by companies in this activity sector. Even more so, if we recall that this trend has been supported by consumers' tastes, the environment movement, public organizations, and demands for better management of tourism. So, as mentioned, the principles of sustainable development have much in common with those of CSR, and the terms are sometimes used indistinctly. A company that seeks sustainable tourism is by definition socially responsible, while CSR contributes the fundamental principles of sustainability. So, therefore, it would seem like tourist companies have serious and clear obligations to issues related to the places where they do business, so that many of them have to adhere to sustainable tourism types whose goal is to safeguard cultural and natural heritage. Continuing with the session and focusing right now on the relationship between sustainability and hospitality. As you may know, the tourism industry in general, and the hospitality sector in particular, have a special influence to contribute to sustainability and the challenges it presents. First of all, it's mainly because of the dynamism and growth of this sector and the major contribution that it makes to the economies of many countries and local destinations. Secondly, it's because tourism is an activity which involves a special relationship between visitors or customers or consumers, the businesses, the natural environment, and the local communities. So this special relationship arises because the consumer of tourism travels to the producer and the product. According to the United Nations Environmental Programme, this leads to three major aspects of the relationship between tourism and sustainable development: interaction, dependency, and awareness. What do I mean by interaction? Well, the nature of tourism as a service industry that is based on delivering an experience of new places means that it involves a great amount of interaction between visitors, hosts, and local communities and their local environments. Dependency. Well, basically, much of tourism is based on visitors seeking to experience undamaged and clear environments, attractive natural areas, and genuine historic and cultural traditions. Therefore, this industry is highly dependent on these attributes. So this close relationship creates a sensitive context whereby tourism can be both very damaging, but also very positive for sustainability, as we will see in a few moments. Okay, and regarding awareness, well, basically the tourism and hospitality industries makes people, both visitors and hosts, become more conscious of environmental issues and differences between nations and cultures. So this situation can affect attitudes and concerns for sustainable development issues, not only during the travel experience, but throughout people's life. Okay. In order to highlight the relevance and the importance of hospitality in the sustainable context, in this slide, you can see, first of all, the negative impacts of tourism, included here hospitality companies for sure. So in comparison to the large number of studies conducted on the general impacts of tourism on the economy, the society, and environment, there have been few attempts to comprehensively analyze the impacts attributable to the hospitality sector. Furthermore, the majority of them, or the majority of studies, are centered on descriptive studies, which try to estimate the environmental impact caused by a hotel establishment over the course of its life cycle. So according to these studies, the largest environmental impacts in the hospitality sector take place in the provision of services and operational phases, such as, for instance, maintenance, cleaning, cooking, restaurants and laundry, among others, and to a lesser degree in the phase prior to providing the service. So, for instance, construction and production of auxiliary products. In addition, the main environmental impacts stemming from corporate activity are considered to be the consumption of electricity, water, and raw materials, and the generation of wastes. However, the hospitality sector not only interacts with natural systems, as this type of activities also entail both direct and indirect contact between the tourist and the local population. So in any case, these contacts could lead to problems such as transforming the local lifestyle and culture, changing local values, and increasing delinquency. In addition, negative sociocultural impacts from tourism can even start before the tourist reach a destination. For instance, the fast and often poorly planned development of tourism accelerates somehow the quick transition of traditional lifestyles toward a modern and more Western style. This involves a fast loss of cultural identity and the deterioration of traditional values, a situation that could lead to negative consequences, including the rupture of family and social cohesion, as the people work harder to improve their social status, causing them to spend less time with their families, the abandonment of traditional economies like farming and fishing, which are replaced by tourist-related activities, or even increased social problems like drug abuse or even prostitution. However, not all impacts of tourism and hospitality companies are negative. Obviously, we can also consider positive impacts. There are obviously several benefits stemming from tourism activity, both on the economic plane and the sociocultural and environmental planes. The most noteworthy of these impacts are included in this second figure. So, for instance, regarding economic benefits, or economic advantages, we can include here benefits obtained by the installations, hotels, restaurants, directly from visitors, benefits obtained by suppliers and support services from the establishment, revenues obtained by the resident population, direct jobs at the tourism installation, and so on. Regarding sociocultural positive impacts, we can include here the preservation of historic buildings and monuments, creation of museums with cultural interest, revitalization of traditional art forms, music, literature, theater, dance, revitalization also of local traditions, gastronomy, minority languages, and obviously the cultural exchange between residents and visitors. Regarding the environmental positive impacts, we can include here many ideas such as preservation of natural landscapes, biodiversity, okay, the creation of natural areas, the restoration of landscapes, and so on. Okay, so it's important to consider not only the negative impacts of tourism and hospitality companies, but also it's important to have in mind these positive impacts. Okay. While continuing with the session, now I would like to highlight some key challenges for sustainable hospitality. Okay, so basically in this slide, I would like to show you some ideas emphasized by the World Tourism Organization. Okay, in this case, according to the United Nations Environment Programme and the World Tourism Organization, the tourism industry faces 5 major global challenges. By describing them, my goal here is to illustrate the range of impacts and opportunities that relate to tourism and hospitality, as well as the many reasons why hospitality companies should pay attention to its sustainable development. Okay. Well, so in this case, we have to consider as a key challenge the idea of managing dynamic growth. Okay, basically the increase in international tourist movements predicted for the next years will bring great pressures. In order to avoid damaging the resources on which tourism depends, this growth must be well managed. This will require careful planning of the location and types of new development, improved environmental management practices, and influencing consumption patterns. In this sense, certain types of location, such as, for instance, marine and coastal environments, historic towns and cities, cultural heritage sites, fragile natural environments, are particularly vulnerable to this pressure. Obviously, we have to consider here climate change. This phenomenon is a major issue for the long-term sustainability of tourism in both senses. Okay, climate change will have consequences for tourism, and tourism is a contributor to climate change. Okay, we have to consider the effects of climate change, such as, for instance, rising sea levels, the increased frequency and energy of surges and storms, beach erosion, coral bleaching. Okay, all these effects are threatening many coastal destinations. Okay, another key challenge for sustainable tourism and hospitality is poverty alleviation. Okay, halving world poverty by 2015 is the foremost UN Millennium Goal. Okay, the potential for the tourism industry to contribute to its reduction, to reduce poverty, is increasingly recognized, partly because it's one of the few sectors in which poor countries' socio-cultural and natural resources give them an economic advantage. So in this case, the development of tourism provides a good opportunity to help reduce poverty, because it's often a new source of revenues in rural areas. We also have to consider here support for conservation. So in this case, the need for more financial resources to support conservation is a worldwide issue, although this problem is different depending on the country. Okay, so for instance, protected areas in developing countries receive less than 30% of their basic funding needs. tourism makes a major contribution to income for protected areas and heritage sites through entry fees, permits, and well, obviously this can be extended, okay? Moreover, these industries can become a force for more sustainable land management by providing an additional alternative form of livelihood for rural communities that are dependent on well maintained natural resources. Okay. Well, continuing with health, safety, and security issues, well, all these ideas are also an aspect concerning this challenge. Uncertainty about the health and safety of travel of certain destinations has caused significant fluctuations in tourism flows in recent years. Although this may be a short-term phenomenon, and recovery is often fast, it should be regarded as a global issue for the sustainability of tourism and hospitality. There are policy implications for image and management of information and for specific measures to provide the safety and security of tourists. And to conclude this section, it's necessary to mention the impact of COVID-19 the sanitary pandemic on these challenges. To highlight the influence of the pandemic on tourism, I would like to show you a dashboard on COVID-19 and tourism, which shows data on the impact of COVID-19 on the tourism sector across the world by regions and by destinations. Well, you've got in the slide the link in which you can find additional data on the impact of COVID-19 on the tourism sector. Okay, but well, basically, as the world is facing an unprecedented global health, social, and economic emergency with the COVID-19 pandemic, travel and tourism is among the most affected sectors, which airplanes on the ground, hotels closed, and travel restrictions put in place in virtually all countries around the world. Therefore, the World Tourism Organization has launched a new dashboard which shows data, as I told you before, on the impact of COVID-19 on the tourism sector across the world. In this slide, you can see an overview of tourism results, talking about international tourist arrivals on a global and regional level, as well as by country groups. Okay, so as you can see, you can in this slide, the percentage of international tourist arrivals has been reduced. Okay, very much. In this second slide, here you've got an overview of monthly change of international tourist arrivals on a global, regional, sub-regional, and country level, as well as by country groupings. Okay, so you can see here the results in Africa, the Americas, Asia and the Pacific, Europe, the Middle East. Okay. In this third figure, you can see the 10 most vulnerable destinations for the following three indicators: tourism as share of gross domestic product, tourism as share in total exports, and international tourism as share of total tourism. So you can see that, for instance, Monaco, Liechtenstein, Bahrain, Montenegro, Chad, Palestine, Togo, Malta, Cabo Verde, all these countries are extremely vulnerable in this pandemic. Okay. Well, basically, to conclude with this part, in this figure, in this figure you can see the impact assessment of the COVID-19 pandemic in the number of international tourist arrivals. The United Nations World Tourism Organization has also analyzed or provides different scenarios for next years, but well, we should be careful at the time of analyzing all this information, okay? And now, yes, this is the last figure in this third point in this session. Here you can you can see a summary of the impact of previous crises on tourism. Okay, here you can see the impact of the SARS pandemic, the terrorist attack in the United States, and the global economic crisis. As you can see in this slide, of all crises, global arrivals return to growth the faster after SARS, after the SARS pandemic, 5 months. In the case of the September 11th attacks, we are talking about 6 months. If we consider the global economic crisis, in this case, the recovery took around 10 months, okay? Obviously, as I told you before, you've got additional information about all these issues in the link that you've got in the slide. I just wanted to show you that COVID-19 is a key challenge, an additional key challenge that we should include apart from the ones that I showed you before. Okay, and well, basically this is the last point of my presentation. In this case, I would like to show you an agenda for sustainable hospitality, an agenda for sustainable tourism and hospitality that can be articulated as a set of 12 aims that address economic, social, and environmental impacts. Okay. Again, according to the United Nations Environmental Programme and the World Tourism Organization, this agenda can be used to develop strategies for more sustainable practices, recognizing the two directions in which policies or tourism policies can exert an influence. First of all, minimizing the negative impacts of tourism on society and the natural environment, and maximizing tourism positive contribution to local economies, the conservation of natural and cultural heritage, and the quality of life on hosts and visitors. So basically, these 12 aims for an agenda for sustainable tourism and hospitality are presented in this table. The order in which these 12 aims are listed does not imply any order of priority, if one is equally important. Okay, so these 12 aims are the following ones. First of all, economic viability. It's necessary to ensure the viability and competitiveness of tourism destination and hospitality firms. Local prosperity, we have to maximize the contribution of hospitality companies to the economic prosperity of the host destination. Employment quality, okay, we have to strengthen the number and quality of local jobs created by hospitality firms. Social equity, we have to seek a widespread and fair distribution of economic and social benefits from hospitality companies throughout the host communities. Customer fulfillment. We have to provide a safe, satisfying, and fulfilling experience for customers. Local control. We have to engage and empower local communities in planning and deciding about the management and future development of tourist areas. Community well-being, okay, to maintain and strengthen the quality of life in local communities, avoiding any form of social degradation or exploitation. Cultural richness. We have to respect and enhance the historic heritage, authentic culture, tradition, and distinctiveness of host communities. Physical integrity, to maintain and enhance the quality of landscapes, both urban and rural. Biological diversity. We have to support the conservation of natural areas, habitats, and wildlife. Resource efficiency, to minimize the use of scarce and non-renewable resources in the development and operation of tourism facilities. And environmental purity. Okay, we have to minimize the pollution of air, water, and land, and the generation of waste by tourism enterprises and visitors. Here I finished my presentation. You've got in this slide the main references that I've used for to share with you all these ideas about CSR and hospitality. And if you want to learn more about CSR in the hospitality context, you can access some of my latest articles. So again, if you have any specific question or doubt, you can contact me. You've got my email, you've got my Twitter account. So I hope you have enjoyed this session, and keep enjoying the rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. I believe we can say Dr. Martínez in person. Thank you. What a great session and what a insightful sharing she had. And I believe many of you have questions. She wasn't live. How can we, get our answers from her? So as she mentioned, you can directly email her, or you can directly get to her Twitter account. She will answer you directly. If you are still impatient, you can always go to our YouTube live. You can post your questions. She will answer you there as well. So I believe, thank you for being with us. Our next speaker, I would like to introduce. She is hails from Korea. Is none other than Dr. Jiseon. Dr. Jiseon is an assistant professor at the School of Business at the Hanyang University in South Korea. She holds a PhD in hospitality administration from the University of Houston. She focuses her research on the global service branding, service experience, and corporate social responsibility research. Now, in this session, she will be sharing with us her latest, some of the research she has been doing in relation to the corporate social responsibility, mainly focusing on the service industry of hospitality. Now, her research focuses on the hotel CSR activities based on self-determination theory. Especially, she has also examined the relative role of different types of CSR activities, feelings of autonomy, competence, and readiness for it, and also the customer positive behavioral intention in the hotel industry. So without further ado, I will give the virtual floor to Dr. Jiseon. Dr. Jiseon, over to you. So I'll stop sharing and I'll give the screen to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rukman, for your nice introduction. So I'm going to share my presentation slide. So again, hello everyone. My name is Jiseon An, and today I'm going to talk about this topic, which is related to travel experience and then sustainability. So I'm going to introduce one of my research regarding about the sustainability in hospitality industry. So yeah, thanks to Dr. Lopan, I'm going to skip the introduction. This is brief information about me. And today, these are content for this presentation. There is some like background information why I did study about this topic, and then what is like supporting theory or supporting literary view about my framework. And then I'm going to talk about methodology and research, and then we will have some discussion time. Okay. So first of all, so the reason why I chose this topic is because, as you can see from this figure, many hotel brands, restaurant brands, hospitality brands, they are trying to promote the customer's well-being. So they are interested in improving customer life satisfaction or their dining or either money well-being. And not only this industry, as you can see, one of the UN WTO sustainable goal is the well-being. So more and more people are caring about their life, caring about work-life balance, and they put the emphasis on improving their well-being. So, and also in the previous studies, the researchers suggest that the tourism experience, such as like a short trip or even short getaway, or even just taking a break, can influence the customer's well-being. So just imagine that like before this pandemic situation, we travel a lot. So let's say I visited some beautiful beach in Thailand. By this kind of travel, it makes me feel connected to my family or friends or local residents. So I can feel some social benefit. And also if you travel or if you visit this beautiful beach or beautiful island, you feel positive, you feel good, satisfied, and then good emotion. So there is also emotional benefit. And also you can learn some local history and culture. So you can also bring some cognitive benefit. So we already experience a lot of benefit from this tourism experience. And plus, as I mentioned, there's increasing interest in terms of customers' well-being, employees' well-being. And especially after COVID-19, more and more people care about their life and well-being, and also the sustainability. So corporate social responsibility, this concept has been getting attention a lot from not only the industry and from academia as well. And also there is some possibility like the need satisfaction. You're gonna feel the need satisfaction when you go to travel or when you visit beautiful restaurant or when you have delicious meal. So this is the background information of this study. And as the previous section mentioned, there are a lot of definitions regarding corporate social responsibility. And in this study, I use this definition. So CSR refers to context-specific, context-specific, the organizational actions and policies, and it takes into the stakeholders. That means the customers or employees, local residents, or the policymakers' expectation. And there are triple bottom line of the economy, social, environmental performance. So I'm using this definition. And so CSR is not a difficult concept. We are living in this world, and then there are so many CSR activities, CSR communication, initiative. The many companies, especially in the hospitality industry, they are doing a lot of the CSR actions, initiative or activities. For example, we can categorize the CSR activity into the environment, community, employees, and partners. So in terms of the environment, so companies trying to reduce some waste or CO2 emission, and at the same time, they're trying to save the water and energy. So once you walk into the hotel room, you can see a lot of signs related to protect the environment. So hotel company put the sign on it and please save the water, save the energy, or please save the towel, please reuse the towel. But this one is an example of the CSR activity in the environment context. And also, once you walk into the luxury hotel or any hotel brand, you can also see a lot of brochure or a lot of like brochure related to the local economy. So the hotel brands, they are using some ingredient from local, and also they are doing a lot of activity with the local community. So that one is the activity of the CSR in the community setting. And also, again, the well-being, life satisfaction. So not only the customer's well-being, the company also care about employees' well-being. So they are trying to make a balance between employees' work life and their personal life. And then some company provide some training program to enhance their well-being. And also, once you see the hospitality industry, they are very culturally diverse. So they can provide some education program to enhance their employees' understanding about this cultural diversity. So that one is also example of the CSR activity. And also some big mega hotel brands, restaurant brands, they do the partnership with this non-profit organization. They're trying to do something for the better world. So that one is all example of the CSR activity. So we know that so CSR is really important. And also that's the reason why we have this kind of sustainability session. And also we have this kind of CRiT summer school to highlight this CSR. But the gap in the previous studies, we don't know how, or there are limited understanding how different type of or how different characteristic of CSR activity can influence customer positive attitude toward the company. So we don't know the link between the CSR activity and customers' attitude toward the brand. And also, so there are tons of study regarding the CSR, but limited study apply the self-determination theory. So that means there are limited study examine the link between the CSR activity and the customer's life. So based on this background information and then this problem existing gap, these are the purpose of my study. So I try to understand the link between the customer responses and then especially hotel CSR activities. And also based on self-determination theory, I try to understand the relative impact of the different characteristic or different type of CSR activity on customers' positive behavior intention, such as the impact of the autonomy, confidence, and related need satisfaction on customers' patronized behavior in the hotel setting. This is the purpose of this study. So basically, in this study, I applied the self-determination theory. So we are all familiar about the self-determination theory. I guess you heard this theory before, right? Then this theory has been widely used in hospitality, not only hospitality, in consumer studies a lot, because it is very helpful to explain people's motivation, why they are doing this, what motivates them to participate in certain activity. And in this study, I applied this theory because I guess that as the antecedent of the customer's patronized behavior, I assume that the autonomy, confidence, and related needs from the CSR activity. So self-determination theory again suggests that there are three basic needs. So every human being has three basic needs: autonomy, confidence, and related needs. Once these needs are satisfied, the customer are likely to be satisfied with their life, or they feel a high level of well-being. And the autonomy needs can be satisfied when customers do something based on their willingness. If they feel free to choose something, they have high level of autonomy satisfaction. The second need is the confidence needs. So let's say if I can participate in CSR activities based on my own capability or ability, it can lead to confidence need satisfaction. And lastly, related needs also can be satisfied in the CSR setting. So for example, let's say if I participate in certain CSR activity and I feel connected to the local community or local people or any the CSR activity, it can enhance the related need satisfaction. So these are my assumption was these three needs are antecedent or indicators of the customer positive behavior toward the hotel brand. So also the positive activity model suggests that customers' positive emotion can influence their positive behavior. And also the need satisfaction is estimated to be influenced by the experience of acting, thinking, relationship. So once you think about the travel experience, it can be also part of the positive experience, and it can also influence need satisfaction, which might turn in their positive behavior toward the company or toward the brand. So based on these two theories, I suggest that need satisfaction can lead customers' patronized behavior toward hotel brand. And once you see the previous study, there are two popular patronized behavior intention, the revisit intention and the positive word of mouth intention. So let's say if customer liked my brand, they're likely to revisit my hotel, or they're likely to repurchase the product or services from my hotel in the future. That one is a revisit intention. And then positive word of mouth intention is related to your attitude toward providing the positive word of mouth. So for example, let's say if I really enjoy staying at Hilton in Kuala Lumpur, I'm likely to spread good word about the Hilton experience to my friends, colleagues, and family. So that one is the word of mouth intention. So in this study, as the consequences of need satisfaction, I suggest these two types of patronized behavior, so positive word of mouth intention and then the visit intention. So this is not that complicated, so simple framework. So basically, I examine the relationship, the characteristic of CSR activities and the patronized behavior in the hotel setting. So to examine this framework, I use the online data. So I construct a survey and then distribute it using the Qualtrics.com, which is one of the popular online survey platforms. And then more than 150 responses are collected. And because as you can see, I don't have a lot of samples in this study. So I use the smart PRS to partially scale structural equation modeling. And as we know, that one is very useful tool if you have a small number of the sample size. So I use this software and this technique. I examine the structure model and then before that measurement model. So this is the sample description. So majority of them female and then age is 19 to 29, and then they have some college or university degree. So this is the characteristic of my sample. And then this is sample questionnaire. So again, autonomy need satisfaction were measured using measure to see the degree, how much customer feel free to express their idea or participate in certain activities in certain hotel. And then competence was related to participating activity based on their ability or capability. And relatedness needs are related to the degree of how much they feel connected or interacted with the local or interacted with the CSL activity itself. And then I also measure the revisit intention and word of mouth intention as the consequences of this need satisfaction. So check the measurement model first. So check the reliability, conversion validity, and discriminant validity. And the most important thing is this result. So using the smart PRS, I found that once the customer feel free of participating in CSR activity, they are likely to spread good word about this hotel CSR experience and about hotel brand. And then if they feel connected or interacted with the CSR activity, they are likely to revisit this hotel, and then at the same time, they're likely to spread a good word of mouth about this experience. However, in this study, the competence need satisfaction does not significantly influence any type of the customer's patronized behavior. But that does not mean the competence need satisfaction is not important in the CSR study. Just in this study, I failed to support this hypothesis, but in my opinion, depends on the cultural setting, or depends on the hotel type, or depends on the type of CSR activity. Maybe it can be also the significant indicator of the customer patronized behavior. So this is the result, and there are some theoretical and practical implications. So theoretical implication is mainly I apply the self-determination theory in the CSR context. So in the previous study, they apply some different theory, social exchange theory to see the impact of the CSR on customer behavior or company performance. But limited study apply the self-determination theory. So I bring the CSR concept and then connect that one to the customer's basic needs based on the self-determination theory. And as we see from the previous slide, I found the relative impact of the different dimension on customers' patronized behavior. So this it was very simple model, but I think it can be applicable in different hospitality company, brands, or industries such as restaurant or cruise or casino, etc. So that is a theoretical implication. As a practical implication, that means I found that if the hotel company can enhance customers' autonomy and satisfaction, they can enhance their loyal behavior. So maybe for the company side, when they design the CSR program, maybe they are trying to give more options to the customers. So not only pushing them to do something, some activity, maybe you can provide some options so customer can choose CSR activity from saving the environment or the community or employees' well-being, or at the same time they can give more option of the manner of the participation. So maybe customer can choose the type of the participation. Maybe they can donate it, or they can rescue use of towel, or they can also participate in some CSR education. So it can enhance the feeling of autonomy. And most important thing, we found the impact of the related needs on both type of customers' patronize behavior. That means not only just telling them you need to participate in sales activity. Maybe you can encourage them to make a bond with the local community or different type of CSR activity. And also maybe you can design some different type of the communication tool or communication platform based on the customer's demographic or profile. So this is the practical implication. Like all this, every academic study, it has some like limitation. For example, that one is just kind of one-time survey. So it's kind of snapshot. So for the future study, you can do some longitudinal study, how this need satisfaction can be changed across time. And also in this study, because again, it was very simple framework. So I didn't add like other antecedent or consequences related to dissatisfaction. So maybe you can add another consequences such as well-being, another antecedents like the types of CSR activities for like the better understanding. And again, as I mentioned, you can also consider the impact of the different situational or demographic factors. Maybe because it depends on customer's demographic characteristic, there is different, maybe there might be different impact of the need satisfaction on their behavior. So these are limitations and suggestions, some for future studies. And this is my last slide. So for the sustainability design activity, the hospitality setting, I provide some suggestions. So as we know, like we need to innovate. So we need innovation even for the sustainability as well. So they can do the concept innovation. So not only doing the internal like CSR activity, they can do the partnership with the local community or local tourism and design the CSR activity together. And also they need to, after COVID-19, we are heavily relying on this technology, the QR check-in or like QR menu, everything is in technology. So when we use technology, still we also need to, innovate the experience as well. Maybe using technology, not only just providing the information, they also need to care about the interaction with the customers. And also in the previous study, researchers found that customer can use technology, they prefer technology, but still they want some sense of human presence. So that can, so for the customer company side, they can design their technology experience using this kind of human presence. And also, as I mentioned in the limitation section, customers' profile is really important. So it depends on their different characteristics, their attitude, their experience, behavior might vary. So for that one, for the hospitality company, they need to design their experience in real-time personalization, where they can offer different CSR or sustainable activity based on their previous behavior. So this is my last slide. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me today. And I think I can finish my session and then back to later. So thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Jiseon. It's such a wonderful sharing indeed.
Thank you.
Okay, before we jump to the question answer session, I think Dr. Jiseon has 2 questions for all of you. So in a while in your Zoom screen, there'll be a poll going to pop up. Please make sure all of the participants, please do answer that questions. 2 questions, okay, it would be really great. So in a while, it will pop up on your screen. Please make sure you answer those. Okay, so till you are doing that, we will go back to what sort of questions are going to come from the participants. Okay, so you can answer, you take your time to answer this question. We'll share the results once most of the participants do finish this poll. Okay, still the poll is going on. Dr. Jiseon, I would like to have a few question answer session because we have some limited time. So first of the question, I think there's a very interesting question. By allowing customer the freedom to choose the CSR activities, is there any impact on the customer loyalty of that particular company? Maybe if you can.
Thank you, Dr. Wupam. Yeah, I guess so. Because just based on my personal experience, like once you walk into the hotel, any brand, normally they just put their CSR activity. They're just using this CSR activity as an advertising tool. So they're advertising, they're doing that, that one. But if, so like as the customer, if I can choose a certain activity, for example, let's say maybe some customer are really into the environment issue. So they really care about this earth or environmental issue. They want to, in that case, I'm sure that they want to participate in any CSR activity related to the saving the environment, not about the community. Or for the other customer wants to participate in CSR activity, which can help the community or employees. In my opinion, yeah, if we can have more options, it can enhance customer like the participation in certain CSR activity. And plus, I guess it can also bring their loyalty toward the brand. My opinion.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have a next question. I think it is a burning question for everybody. Do you think the impact of post-COVID-19 will going to change the variables, or you can say the factors, how CSR will be impacted in future, like in hospitality setting? Do you think how it will be impacted? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Wupam. That is really a serious question. When I read some article, it looks right, because after COVID-19, some hotel brands, they shut down their branches, right? Or even some of them, they just close their business. So in this kind of situation, I guess they cannot spend a lot of budget, a lot of money on developing the CSR right now. But we all know CSR is kind of key thing. So we cannot choose doing CSR or not. So we should do something for the CSR. Maybe the invest money or like amount or type of activity might be different. In my opinion, it right now might be difficult to engage with the various CSR activity. But I think once we are settled with this situation, I think every companies, they should do something related to the CSR activity, CSR or sustainability. Without doing so, I guess, the customer also cares about sustainability. They are doing a lot of sustainable consumption. So if they see that company does not engage in the CSR or sustainability, I guess the customer also don't like this kind of brand, which might be very significant for the company's performance and their outcome. I think right now it's hard, but I think you will get better once this pandemic situation is out.
I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, to be honest, being academic or researcher, we really need to rethink what is actually happening in the current stage. Can we just simply follow the old theories been established? I think we really need to rethink depending upon the environment, because yesterday we had a very intriguing session, but thinking about how the environment really changes, how we see different issues or problem. It's more like it's not the problem are no more conceptual. It's more like a real life problem. How can you make sure your businesses are open within the country? I believe, most of the country has been affected very badly, and how we can improve that. How can we contribute to the society? That can really change. I think post-COVID, we have to really relook what sort of academic research been done and how we can take to maybe a different level. Related to that, I think there is some of the questions are related to sharing your research papers. So I think I think most of the participants are really interested to read your research papers. So I think it would be great.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Jiseon. Any sort of other ideas? Would you like to share some research ideas? Because I believe in our this summer school, a lot of researchers are here present, and they're really intrigued for to start up their next research project or maybe next research paper. So if you have some idea, if you can share with them, that'd be great.
Okay, research idea. Because as a researcher, we are always struggling. We come up with some decent idea, right? I think, the one thing we can try is, again, this one is just very simple framework. And then I only collected data in the United States and then in the hotel setting. In my opinion, it can be applicable into the different area. And plus, again, I did not examine the link with the need satisfaction from the CSR activity and other consequences, such as it can be the financial outcome of the company, or it can be the customer's well-being. So I think it could be a good topic. And plus, maybe in this study, I collected data from the hotel customer side. But again, as I mentioned earlier, we also need to care about employees' well-being. So I think, we can also study about the employees' behavior or their experience with the company's DSR activity, need satisfaction, and its consequences. I think it could be an interesting topic.
Yeah, we definitely, it's an interesting viewpoint. We can always look into that. Thank you for sharing. So I think I will ask to move to our next part, which is summary of the session. I think we had a very intriguing session. We have few minutes left now, so I'll just summarize what's been presented today. So from the first speaker, from Dr. Martínez, she had shared about defining the concept of CSR and transforming the practices from 50s until now. I think she shared a very intriguing session of her. She has also shown how the growth of academic literature for the last 15 years has been progressing through it. She also focused on the CSR was centered on the sustainability and also highlighted major contribution to the academic research related to the CSR. She further highlighted the negative and positive impacts of tourism. And lastly, she showed us that the key challenges for the sustainable hospitality that we are still having, and also agendas to follow for the future. In Dr. Jiseon, very intriguing sessions he had also, she has shared with her recent research on the importance of CSR in the service industry, undertaking the self-determination theory. She also focused on the CSR activities, mainly on the feelings of autonomy, competence, relativeness, and on the customers. She also further highlighted the results on CSR behaviors and also suggested some longitudinal study, including the concept of innovations and so on. So I believe it was a very interesting session. Most of the participants, once the speaker slides, I am sure, don't worry, we will share the slide with all of you because I know it was really a very good session. I mean, I am, being a moderator, I would just keep on listening, how intriguing it is and how, insightful it is. So without further ado, we'll go to the next part, which is showing the poll results. Dr. Jiseon, your poll results are here. I hope everybody can see it. Yes, so the company, the CSR is a company contribution sustainability. Yes, of course, everybody has said yes. Sustainability and the corporate social responsibility in terms of concern, which the following aspect, organization behavior, performance or impact. So most of them have chosen the social responsibility, followed by environmental stewardship. Okay, and I think in number 3 is the economic responsibility. I think you can get the idea. People have more lenience towards the what is the social responsibility we have, and also being an academic, and there are many researchers here, over 500 participants. I believe all of us believe in this, that the change always comes from us. We cannot always blame the system or our governance all the time, because the change starts with you, with us. So with that, I would ask all the participants to open up your camera. We will take a group picture, but before that, we will also ask you to share one word of what you have taken away from this particular session. On the Slido, you can post one keyword under the whole section. So you can post your word, what you have taken from this particular session. So we will wait for it. I will ask Dr. Kandapan if you can share the screen. Let's see, which is the most important word they have found out.
Can you see the slide, right? Slido slide, right, Dr. Upam?
Yes, yeah. yes. So all the participants can input their same Slido. Okay, it's time for a digital photo session. So I'll ask my facilitator, Miss Eileen, if you can take a picture of us, all the participants attending this session.
Yes, please. Everyone, please turn on your cameras and stand by. I'll do it very quickly, page by page. There is 21 pages. So we'll go with the first page. I will just say 3, 2, 1 and take, and I'll move on to the next. So may I also ask the chat to stop typing first so that it doesn't disturb the screen? Thank you very much. 1, 2, 3. Next page. 1, 2, 3. Next page. 1, 2, 3. Next page. I'm at page 4 now. 1, 2, 3. Page 5. 1, 2, 3. Page 6. 1, 2, 3. Page 7. 1, 2, 3. Page 8. Hold on, it's loading. 1, 2, 3. Okay, page 9. Okay, page 10. Page 11. I'm not saying 1, 2, 3 because these are no video at the moment. Okay, page 14. 17. 21. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss Elaine. It was wonderful. Thank you all the participants for being for this session. Please don't go away. We have a next session coming in at 5 o'clock. So stay tuned. Till then, we will catch up with you. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And thank you once again from CRiT.
Thank you, Dr. Upam. So now we are showing the input of the word cloud.
Sure.
Hope everyone can see the screen. Is the screen visible?
Still loading at the moment.
Still loading, yeah.
Up, is it?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see?
Yes.
1/109. Okay, it's popping up. Okay. Interesting to see the bigger bubbles: CSR, sustainability, responsibility, informative, which are all the positive feedback from the participants, which is very good. Thanks to our speakers. Thank you, Dr. Jiseon, all the way from Korea, and also another speaker all the way from Spain, sending the video. Okay, people who have not done, you can keep posting. So later we'll try to capture this. So let me stop sharing this.
Thank you, Dr. Kandapan, for sharing the screen. I think we will go for the next session, starts from 5 o'clock. So all of you stay tuned, and you can take a short break. Thank you, Dr. Jiseon. Once again, very interesting sharing or session from you. So take care, everybody. We are signing off from here. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you, Dr.
University. Thank you,
Jiseon.
CRiT. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It was really good.